Because the ultimate goal is how we can get healthier and healthier as we get older. There are four pillars of well being: nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management. Which of these four are the most important? And another one people don't want to talk about: if you're highly stressed, the cortisol is coming for your glutes. Let's rank these four pillars according to most important to least important. Ranking at number one is a tie. Your Honor, can you let the record show that this is a habit stacking YouTube channel? All the Doctor Within social media platforms are habit stacking tools. The Doctor Within Health Journal is all about how you can improve your health by adding little habits into your day to day life. Habits matter because if you have a collection of healthy habits, ultimately it contributes to you having a healthy lifestyle.
Okay, it all boils down to the lifestyle.
And lifestyles matter because so many of the non communicable diseases are driven by lifestyle factors. Certain lifestyle factors put you more at risk of diseases like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular issues. So, the lifestyle that you choose can play a big role in preventing certain diseases. However, even if you find yourself dealing with a health issue, the lifestyle habits that you adopt can influence the severity of the symptoms that you feel. Beyond just preventing disease or managing disease, having a healthy lifestyle contributes to the full picture of your life. So I need you to imagine how a healthy lifestyle can influence your mood, can influence your energy levels. Your body wants to thrive. It wants to repair itself. It wants to regulate its hormones. It wants to reduce inflammation. However, all of that starts with the environment that you produce in your body through your lifestyle. But all of this lifestyle change is built by your habits. As a habit stacking tool, Dr. Within really just has three main goals. The first goal is accessibility. The second goal is consistency. The third goal is progress. So if I had to break it down just a little bit,
If I had to break it down.
with accessibility, it's all about reducing the barriers that people have about health and wellness, the barriers in their mind, the barriers when it comes to correct information. And some barriers are real, they are legitimate. Finances can be a barrier to the kind of food that you have access to. Conditions in your body can be a barrier. Your schedule can be a barrier. If your schedule is super, super busy, you have a huge workload, going to the gym can seem inaccessible to you. What are some ways that you can work around that to ensure that you're still getting some physical activity, understanding what is available to you and how you can optimize on these things in order to create the healthiest version of your lifestyle? Goal number two, consistency, has everything to do with how repeatable a certain habit is. If you're able to repeat your healthy habits, they stick. So you need to be really, really, really realistic with yourself and incorporate a habit that you know that you can repeat over and over again, because that feeds into goal number three, which is progress. So if you're able to do something consistently over time, you can deepen that. Progress is not only about how many things you can do. So now you have the healthy diet, you have 10,000 steps, you have an elaborate skincare routine. It's like a 12-step skincare routine. You do voluntary work. It's not about a bunch of different things. The progress comes with how much of the things that you already do can you deepen. It's all about meeting yourself where you are and adding one more thing that you are able to do, repeating that until you come to a level where you can progress. The ultimate goal is how we can get healthier and healthier as we get older. It is possible. It is possible to add more and more and more healthy routines in our lives to the point where 5 years along the line, when we look back at the current version of ourselves, we can be impressed with ourselves. We can say, yeah, we made so many changes. And the funny thing about this is we never know. We never know what diseases we may be avoiding. We never know what breakdowns, emotional breakdowns we could be avoiding by simply having the healthiest version of our lifestyles that we can have. There are four pillars of well being that we focus on. We focus on nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management. There are many more, okay? They are so much more. We just want to focus on the basics. This is something that we replicate in the 1% weekly challenge. If you're not part of the challenge, We are going to be on a break soon for 2 weeks. This is the perfect opportunity for you to hop on and take the steps to build healthy habits. If you've been part of the 1% Weekly Challenge, you may have noticed that we started on the mind and the emotions. Because, in the words of Lauren Jennifer Hill, how you going to win if you ain't right within? I don't know if her middle name is Jennifer. If you take a look at nutrition, sleep, exercise, and stress management, which of these four are the most important? If you had to focus on one pillar of well being, which one would you focus on? Is it possible to put them in a rank from most important to least important? The truth is, all of these are important. They flow into one another. These four health pillars, as well as the others that were not named, they ultimately impact you because you're a holistic being. The effectiveness of one pillar of health depends on the other pillars of health. If you're not eating well, you are not reaping the full benefits of your gym sessions. If you're not getting good quality sleep, you're actually sabotaging yourself a little bit in the gym because you are you're missing out. You're missing out on the full benefits of exercising because you may not be producing enough growth hormone while you sleep. Your body is not doing the full extent of repairs that it can do if you are not sleeping well. And another one people don't want to talk about, if you are chronically stressed, the cortisol in your body can break down the proteins in your body. So it's eating your muscles, especially the muscles of the glutes. If you're highly stressed, the cortisol is coming for your glutes. Yeah. So it's important to invest in habits connected to one of these pillars. Now, if we go back to the concept of accessibility, this can feel overwhelming for some people. It can feel like having way too much to do and not really knowing where to begin. So that's why I asked the question, which of these four are the most important? And as we've just discussed, they're all important, they all matter. But I'll let you in on a secret. I'm going to tell a secret that I've observed about most healthy people. Realistically speaking, we may not be doing all of them perfectly 100% of the time. Nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress management, we are not doing all four all the time. So things can knock you out of your routine, and it can be challenging to rebuild these things. The difference between healthier people and people who are not so healthy is that healthier people are more conscious of getting back on the horse. And the habits that they build can actually make them feel uncomfortable when they're not adhering to these things. They go through 2 months of not exercising. They start to feel like they don't feel right. So, the goal of this habit stacking is to make the healthy habits that contribute to disease prevention, make those habits feel so much like second nature that you don't feel right if you don't do them. Let's rank these four pillars according to most important to least important. I highly recommend for you to rank your pillars of well-being slash health according to your lifestyle. Now, I'm going to share what my opinion is. This is based off of observations and science. Ranking at number one is a tie. Stress management and nutrition are the number one, at the top of my list and the top of many people that I've counseled. In many cases, people are highly stressed because of overwhelm, feeling like they have too much to do and not enough time. If this is you, it can be so challenging to figure out a way to now add healthy nutrition. It can be such a challenge to figure out when you're going to exercise. If you feel overwhelmed with your schedule, you feel like you don't have enough time, how can you create that time? So, in certain people, I've seen that trying to address the sleep, the exercise, the food without addressing the stress, it can burden them more because it feels like more to do when they already feel like they don't have space to do more things. Another reason why stress is ranked right at the top is because stress can greatly impact your sleep. If you have a high stress lifestyle, you may find it difficult to fall asleep. You may find it difficult to stay asleep. And if your stress is from overwhelm, your sleep time may be reduced. So, A person can run off of 4 to 5 hours of sleep per night simply because they have a lot of stress. Stress really has this trickle down effect on the rest of the body. The reason why nutrition is side by side with stress management is because how can anything be done without the correct food? If you are not eating well and drinking enough water, the body is not able to function optimally. The body is constantly regenerating and repairing. And so, if you have enough food, you have enough of the raw materials to build the body. So, in order for the systems to work, they need to have a constant supply of high quality nutrients. Nutrition impacts our mind. There's this strong link between food and mood. So if if I'm speaking to a person who doesn't eat very well and they will say, this is their words, I'm a lazy person, or I'm so moody, or I'm so irritable. Sometimes you're not lazy, you're nutrient deficient. Maybe you're not moody, you are low in vitamin D. Maybe you're not you're not irritable, your blood sugar is all over the place. And all of this depends on the food that you eat. So besides just your mood, besides just your exercise, we already mentioned how you're not maximizing on your workouts if you're not eating well. And the same with sleep. There are certain nutrients that really optimize how you sleep. And without them, your body is not able to sleep as well as it should. Second place goes to sleep. Remember, it's not second because it's less important. All of these are important. Second, because optimizing on your nutrition and effectively dealing with your stress can really set you up for a good night's sleep. Sleep is very important for the brain. It's also where the body produces certain hormones that it does not produce when you're awake. We have exercise in third place, equally important. With exercise, we want to add physical activity, like exercise slash physical activity. They're not the same thing. Exercise is the one pillar of well being that requires less time. If you think about it, sleep takes 7 to 9 hours, ideally, every single day. Food is something that you are likely to eat daily, probably multiple times a day, and that can require preparation. It can require grocery shopping. So it's something that has to be done frequently. But when it comes to exercise, you can benefit from exercising 3 times a week. You can benefit from 15-minute workouts. You don't have the option to have 3 meals each week. You cannot sleep 3 hours per week. But with exercise, you can, and you can still get really far with that amount of exercise. Most people have some form of non exercise activity throughout the day. Think of it like doing chores or cooking or taking a walk. It's something that you can incorporate into your life. And so that's why it's not at the top. And also because when I am sitting with a client, in some cases, their approach to exercise actually makes them more stressed. Exercise is a bit more nuanced because, in a lot of cases, physical activity is a person's form of stress management. And physical activity is one of the pillars of health that are absolutely irreplaceable. So it's still there, okay? It's still in the four, the famous four. So now that you have this information, I would like to invite you to do a little self audit. See which of these pillars are the ones that can be your non negotiable. What's at the top of your rank may not be what's at the top of someone else's rank. The ranking depends on you. If you're going to have one that is really, really important, it depends on your current lifestyle. If you are facing a health condition that is primarily driven by food, then your health priority is food. That's the pillar that you want to focus more on. The others still matter, but nutrition may be your non negotiable, which means that our goal is to have all four of these health pillars dealt with. However, if life gets busy or for some reason you are not able to sleep well, your non negotiable would be nutrition. That's the one you lock in on. If everything else changes, your nutrition is the one thing you want to remain the same. When you check in on yourself in the next 2 weeks, you can then identify and reassess if maybe you can add exercise, if you can add sleep, if you can add stress management. But the one constant can be nutrition, especially if you are dealing with a health issue that's focused on nutrition. Another factor that can influence the rank of these habits is what's easiest for you. If you are great at sleeping, you fall asleep easily, you stay asleep the whole time, you sleep for 7 to 10 hours, that's your thing, then that is the easiest one for you to do, and you can determine where it falls. So if you're new to getting a healthier lifestyle, that can be your number one thing. That if I don't exercise this week, or if I am in a new city and I don't have access to the healthiest foods that I can find, at least I will be sleeping well. Or you can place it at the bottom of your ranking because you know that's not something you need to focus on. It's something you do without thinking about. So you can focus on other things. Perhaps you sleep really well, but your nutrition needs work. So that's the one thing you'll focus on. That can be your number one priority. This can depend on what's the most pressing issue that you're facing. Disclaimer: if you have a current health condition, it's really good to speak to a registered health practitioner to get guidance from them and to focus on improving your lifestyle. So, you want to take an audit of your life, take inventory. What am I doing? What is the most important thing for me to focus on? Is your health concern primarily driven by diet? Is it primarily driven by a poor sleep schedule? For example, if you always have brain fog and you're not sleeping well, that's a good sign that sleep might be your priority. If you have low energy, you want to focus on nutrition, you want to focus on sleep. Exercise can be helpful as well. If you feel overwhelmed, you feel anxious, your top priority may be stress management. And I'm not a fan of the word stress management. What we really mean is reducing the mental load that your brain has to process. And it can be a simple thing as reducing your screen time. Really, just that's the one thing you want to change. Find a way to make sure that you are not constantly connected. If your main stressor is your workload, then that's the one thing that you want to find. Like, is there a way to reduce that? Is there a better way to manage time? Is there a way to delegate tasks? Is there a way to ask for help? We say stress management, but that is a broad term for nervous system regulation, for mental and emotional wellness. You can rank these for yourself, for your unique journey. Ask yourself, what's the most pressing concern that you have? Ask yourself, what comes easiest to you? Because if something comes easy to you, that can be the last thing that you focus on. Yes, we still do it, but because it's automatic, it's something you don't really need to focus on. Ask yourself what's easiest for you, and then finally ask yourself what is your non negotiable. So if the health habits are up in the air, what's the one thing that you will use as an anchor? We've identified that these four pillars of health can fluctuate from person to person. Our ultimate goal is having all four of these in balance. That's what we attempt to do. And some weeks you may get it right, other weeks you may not. It is okay. What matters is how you rank them and which of these place priority in your life. If you're able to figure out your ranking, please leave it in the comments or add it to the 1% weekly chat. The link to the community is somewhere in the description. And this following week, we will be taking a break. Okay, so the next 2 weeks, we'll take a break and then we will begin with mindful eating. The break also helps us to not focus on ourselves too much. Sometimes you don't need to work on yourself. You just need to enjoy the things that you're already doing. We are checking in on ourselves every 2 weeks. This can help you course correct and get right back into it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next 2 weeks.